tea, lemon, honey, and tech support? Let's make some mead.
So by that introduction, you may surmise that we are making an Arnold Palmer style or inspired mead.
Yes, which basically means tea and lemon with honey, because that's what mead is. Mead is fermented honey made into a wine-like substance. How's that for a nice definition of mead? It's been made for thousands and thousands of years. Okay, so we made tea, and let me insert how to make the tea right here. To make an Arnold Palmer, you need tea. So I have here a kettle. It's filled with 7 cups of water. To that we're adding, how many of these?
10.
10 black tea bags. This happens to be English breakfast tea by Twinings. Don't judge, it's what we had. Why 10? Because it's a nice round number. If I can get them all in there. By the time I get them all in, it's going to be time to take them out.
We are using black tea because that is a nice neutral tea that's not going to add any additional flavor. Typically,
Well, it adds the tea flavor.
yes,
That's the idea.
Yes, but typically an Arnold Palmer is black tea and lemonade, half and half, roughly. So that's the premise of why we're using this particular brand of tea. If you want to use a different flavored tea, you can. It's just going to taste different.
It won't be an Arnold Palmer if it's flavored tea. No, it's more like an Arthur Palmer. Similar, but not the same. It took me a little while to come up with a name that would go with that.
All right, so we're going to let this steep now for 4 minutes, and we'll be right back.
Oh, let me set a timer. Using the calculator teacher said I would never have. That also doubles as a timer.
Okay. 4 minutes later, we removed the tea bags and we've let it cool, but we're impatient. It's not cool.
It's not cool.
So we have our favorite pitcher here, and we went ahead and we added just under 16 fluid ounces of water.
Let me explain some of the methodology that's going to happen here. We are starting this at a certain size, and then we're going to end up adding the lemonade later. So we need to hit this precise mark, which is 74 ounces of tea. Now, can you drop tea bags in and let them steep? Yes, you absolutely can. We are going with the more controlled way, which means we steep the tea for 4 minutes on purpose so that we get the maximum effect without some of the bitterness from it.
We boiled the water in our electric kettle and then added the tea bag. So this was a hot steeping process, just to be clear.
And the only reason why we put some water in here is because this is a plastic pitcher and I didn't want to melt it. This water is still hot. It's probably still 160 degrees Fahrenheit right now. So, you know, I didn't want to do any damage to our favorite pitcher ever. But everything that's going to touch this brew, except for the kettle,
which was boiled water,
was sanitized in. Which is actually just a big red bucket with Star San mixed to the manufacturer's suggestion with water. And what we mean by that is everything that's going to touch the brew, like this thermometer right here, I sanitized just the tip.
Our hands.
Our hands,
this
everything.
Towel, that towel. Why are these towels sanitized? Because they've been drying stuff that's sanitized, and so they're soaked already with sanitization liquid.
Now, the reason why we're concerned about the temperature of this is if we were to put yeast in this at this point, it would kill the yeast. It's far too hot. I don't know if they'd melt, but they would die for sure. So right now it's still 155 degrees. So let me just put this away and we'll be right back.
So how much volume do we have to get to our target?
10 more ounces is all we can add. So I think maybe a couple of ice balls will do the trick. Those of you that like whiskey know what these are. These are my precious whiskey ice balls, the only 2 that I have going right now. I'm giving them up for the people. I don't think this one was fully frozen yet. I could see bubbles floating around in it. That's really neat. It's frozen on the outside, but not on the inside, and melting all over my hand.
I'm very cold sensitive, so anything cold causes massive amounts of pain.
I think I'm hot sensitive.
Right. Or I could probably put my hand in there and swirl it around, but why? That's just gonna gross.
Yeah, don't do that. All right, let's see what this is doing. I actually dropped it significantly already, just the few seconds that it was in there. So we'll just give this a few minutes, be back once it's cool enough. So a couple things that we're gonna do slightly different this time. One, we're gonna be using our brand new fermenter. This is a 1.5 gallon glass fermenter comes with an airlock and a lid with a grommet. And if you remove the airlock, it has a little cap to go in there. A plug. That's the word to seal this sucker up. Now, someone told us about this, and I don't remember exactly who it was, but I think his name was John. And a couple other people mentioned that they were starting to get these too. We got 2 of them on Amazon. I think it was like $40 or so, just a little under $40. I'm going to put a QR code for these right here. So if you're watching on TV or, if you're on anything, you can just take a scan of that with your phone and it goes right to it. We are Amazon affiliates. We do get a small commission if you purchase using any of our links.
With no additional cost to you.
That. And everything that we're using here is going to be linked in the description of this video as well. So that way, if you happen to miss the QR code or whatever, it's in the description. Don't worry, you can still go there. But there's also something else. This is the tech support part that we talked about and the Wi-Fi from the title. That it's something I have basically poo-pooed for a long time. And that is the TILT digital hydrometer. Now, in all complete honesty here, I bought this with my money. TILT does not even know we exist. They did not offer this to me. They did not send it. They don't know we're making this video. This is completely based on our own experiences. But this is the TILT Pro Mini. The reason I got it is because it's actually small enough to fit into a standard narrow mouth 1 gallon fermenter. Now, that scares me to do because I don't know. It just seems like it might not come out that easily. So I don't know that I want to do that. But in a wide mouth like this, it totally works just fine. I did sanitize it, by the way. Everything's been sanitized.
But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Right. The reason I'm going to use the TILT is because I want to actually stop the fermentation on this one at a specific point. Now, don't get me wrong. You can do this without a TILT. It just means you have to do a lot of gravity checks to figure out when it's there. With the TILT, which is the reason why we got it at all, is because of this technique, so that we can have it in there, I can monitor it and know exactly when it's ready to go. So we'll see if it works, because I mean, it should. I tested it, so it should work just fine. But I just wonder, is it really that much more convenient than just taking the readings? So we'll find out. Plus, it's a toy.
All right, let's put some honey in this jar, shall we?
All right, so we have our scale, we have honey. For this, we're just going to be using Kirkland Wildflower Honey. It's my favorite honey. It's relatively inexpensive if you have a Costco near you, and it's a pretty decent quality honey. But any nice wildflower would work for this, or even an orange blossom would work for this. There's so many other flavors that are going to be added. I don't think the honey choice is as crucial. So don't go with something stupid expensive, but get a good quality honey. Anyway, so we're going to be using 2.5 pounds of honey in this brew. We had a couple of partials, so we're just going to, measure out the 2.5 pounds. I think my favorite part about these fermenters too is that they're square, which means they don't take up as much space as a round one would. And it still doesn't really look any larger than a standard 1 gallon. That to me seems pretty cool. They also have measurements on them in metric and the American system. So that's just awesome. You don't see that very often. She's going to sanitize that finger, don't you worry. Okay, I just checked the temperature on our tea, and it's sitting at about 123 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's still a little bit too warm, but I think once we get it mixed in with the honey, it'll probably be fine.
At this stage, adding it, it's cool enough that we're not going to concerned about
no thermal shock. Nah, we're good.
But it's warm enough that it should make mixing the honey a lot easier.
In theory.
In theory.
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
Nickly.
I think we made tea wine once before, but I don't think we made tea mead, did we?
I don't know. Maybe
For mixing, I'm going to be using the spattle. It's a spoon, it's a paddle, it's both. Get yours in the description below. Yes, I named it. I'm proud of it. And it works really great. They're just a shortened paddle with a spoon on the end. We don't use the spoon end as much as we thought we might, but we have used it.
But we have used it. Yeah.
When you need it, you need it. It's the insurance spoon. So far, though, I really like these fermenters. I'm very impressed. The lids themselves inside, they have a really great silicone seal. So I'm hoping for good things, because we've tried a lot of larger than 1 gallon, but smaller than 2-gallon fermenters. And it's hard to find the holy grail of seals really well, is made of glass, preferably, and is not a weird size or something, or isn't stupid expensive. That's the other one.
Yeah. The square fermenters are really great for storage.
It's a glass TARDIS. That's what I'm hoping for. Now, when you're mixing up a mead like this, it's okay to get a little messy. You want some air getting into it. You want to aerate it, because if you don't, well, the yeast need that oxygen in the beginning phases of fermentation to build up a colony. Once they get going, you don't want it anymore. But don't worry, they're going to use it all up all on their own and then start putting out CO2 and alcohol, and that displaces any oxygen that might be left. See why we hate this table? Are you actually holding it still?
I'm trying to.
I don't know if that's mixed fully.
It's hard to tell with the dark tea because the tea stays on this bottle.
But it doesn't look thick. Hey, you know what? You can't overmix. Plus, I'm sure this is cooling it down a little bit too. All right, I think that's mixed enough. Now you might be thinking, you know, guys, you're making an Arnold Palmer. Where's the lemon?
That comes later.
Later. So what I want to do now first is check the temperature. I want to make sure that we're not going to be too hot for our yeast. And I just touched this, so now I got to sanitize it. I'm looking for ideally under 110, which right now we're sitting at like 109. So that's totally fine. At 120 degrees Fahrenheit, I'll put the Celsius right here. Yeast basically die, okay? Maybe not all of them every time, but enough that it's probably going to stress a colony. So that's why we don't like to do that. But
you want to take a gravity reading now?
yeah, because it's going to make a mess otherwise. So what we're going to do, we're going to verify the TILT's reading by taking a reading right now.
Now, some of you are going, but Derica and Brian, isn't your hydrometer calibrated to a specific temperature?
Yep, and I'm going to make that adjustment. So right now what we have is a honey sweet tea that's hot. Kind of cool. I don't remember what my target was because we wrote all this out while we were driving to her parents' house last week.
It was pretty high, if I remember correctly, because we were going to dilute it.
For reasons. So right now we are sitting at 1.114. Still getting used to this having stuff pre-filled out for me thing. Doesn't always work for me.
We'll figure it out someday.
Okay, so 1.114. Because it was sanitized, I can do that. Some people don't sanitize their equipment.
Or not some people.
Exactly. All right, so.
You're going to calibrate for temperature.
Right.
So our hydrometer is calibrated, I believe, for 60 degrees. Yep.
In order to make the adjustment, I just go onto Google and I search for hydrometer temperature adjustment, temperature correct, or it'll come up with a suggestion, hydrometer temperature correction chart. That's even better, but I don't want to use that. So when I want to figure out the alteration here, I just go to Google and I search for hydrometer temperature correction. And Brewer's Friend comes up, hydrometer temperature adjustment calculator. You can save that to your phone if you want to, however you want to do it. And then I just scroll down and I put in my hydrometer reading, which is 1.114. Put in the temperature that I actually have, which is 108 in Fahrenheit. And the calibration is 60.
I confirmed it already.
60, okay. That means an adjusted value of 1.120. Now, I know that the TILT makes its own temperature correction because it has a thermometer in it as well. So I'm just gonna, well, we're gonna put it in, see what happens. Okay, now let me start up the TILT app. If I can find it on my phone, there it is. And we're using the TILT 3 app because I think that's the newest version. It just came out. And it's saying 1.113, 1.116, and 75.3 Fahrenheit. I think it needs a minute to adjust.
Going up on the temperature.
Yeah, we're gonna give that a minute to settle out. So far the temperature, like it's only been a minute, the temperature seems off. It's saying 77.3 Fahrenheit, but the reading, it's at 1.117 basically. It goes 4 digits. I will always round off that 4th digit to something else because nobody needs thousandths, 10,000ths of a point. But the temperature's still going up. I'm gonna go with it. I'm going to start a new log for this, and we're going to call it Arnold Palmer. And I have it set to every 15 minutes. I don't think it needs to be 15 minutes. I think every hour is probably sufficient. I don't really need to be that precise.
We can put the lid on now, right?
Nope, we have to put yeast in still. Okay. Then I'm just going to save that, and it starts up, just like that.
So the temperature and everything is starting to go up continuously because it has to adjust the temperature, so it'll get in range.
Yeah, and if we sound a little awkward, it's because that's the first time we're using this, and I've only used the app a couple times, so, you know, give me a break. Anyway, yeast choice.
Shockingly, we're using 71B.
Also known as the Beast. And why are we using that? Because it's a known entity. We know how well it can function. We are very familiar with what it does, and it's also known for like fruity flavors and things like that, and for not needing a ton of nutrients. And well, here's the thing. We're making a tea mead at this point right now, and they often can have a fruity-like flavor, and honey can add fruity and flowery notes. So I like to use 71B.
Now, we're not dry hopping our tea because we already steeped it. But if we were dry hopping our tea, in the past, when we've done such, we've noticed that that has plenty of nitrogen that the yeast like, and that acts as a nutrient-like substance.
Yeah, it does. I wouldn't say that it's a direct replacement for yeast nutrient. I'm still on the fence about using or not using yeast nutrient. We did a test, I can link it, that we had nutrient and go firm, nutrient only, and no nutrient. And honestly, in a blind taste test, we chose the one with no nutrient as the best tasting one. So take that as you will. Maybe it's just our personal preferences, but so we're doing a longer term experiment by not using nutrients in many of our brews to see what happens. Does it still work? And so far, it's worked out just fine.
But if you choose to use nutrients, that is totally fine and up to you. Just use the recommendation by the manufacturer.
Right. So for now, since we have yeast in there, I'm going to put the lid on this. Now I know what somebody's going to think. Guys, that's only like half full. You are right. And you know why it's only half full? This is why I love using these larger fermenters. As this starts to get all active and foamy, it's probably not going to make it up to the airlock and make a mess all over our kitchen. And we measured this out perfectly. I want it to be exactly how it is. I don't want to have half of it on my countertop because I can't measure that anymore and I don't know what's there. So by using a larger container, we can keep that clean. But also, people will worry that, well, what about oxidation? In primary fermentation, oxidation is not a worry in any way, shape, or form. You heard me say before, we wanted to put oxygen in it. So you want to oxidize in the first stage. Now, once it starts making alcohol and CO2, here's what will happen. CO2 is heavier than oxygen. So it'll actually force any excess oxygen right out the airlock over time. So it's nothing to worry about. But anyway,
this is only applicable to primary fermentation, this beginning stage that we're in. Once we get later on in the road, our viewpoint on headspace will change. We have actually done a full podcast on this, and I'll make sure to link that in the description below if you're curious about more information.
But for now, this is going to sit in the ferment station, also known as our laundry room for right now, because our studio is being built. And I'm going to keep a log of it on my phone through the TILT so I can see what it's doing so we can get to the next step.
Let's check the temperature just one more time because we took the hydrometer reading as a comparison and I want to see where we're at.
Okay. It's saying 91.3 now. And it's saying 1.116. I'm going to write down the 1.116 number for the TILT.
It just went up to 91.4, so it's still
going up, and it's 1.117. Yep. So once this levels off, I'll write down the peak number because it's not fermenting yet. So that number is not going to change in the next hour or so.
92.
Yeah, it's at 92 degrees, but it's also cooling off.
Sure.
So it might
eventually even out.
It'll eventually hit there. All right, but anyway, for now, we're gonna let this do its thing and we'll be back in a couple of weeks to show you what we do next. Okay, so this has been going for roughly 2 weeks or so, and the TILT is in there, and I've been watching it. And I gotta say, I'm kind of impressed with the TILT. One thing that I don't know if it's something that it can do is automatically log, like every so often. Mine only seems to log when I log into it. So maybe somebody can tell me or I can do a little research. But let me pull up what it's doing now. Now you might notice this does not look done. There's a reason for that.
It's not done.
Yeah, right now it's at 1.046. Well, 1.0463, but who's counting? Which you might think, but wait, guys, that's way far from being done. And you're right, it is. But remember, this is only 3/4 of a gallon. We plan on adding some stuff to this to make it a true Arnold Palmer, because right now it's just a wine mead.
But before we get there, we're going to take a verification gravity reading based on our typical practice, which is a triple scale hydrometer.
If I can get the lid off. Ugh, it's on there good. Can you hold that so I don't knock it across the room?
Yes.
And you might have noticed, we're back in our studio. Not the old studio. This is the new studio.
That was then. This is now.
Yeah. Things are just crazy right here. Gonna have to get that out of there at some point too.
Yep.
Maybe a sanitized hand can reach in there. Because we don't need it in there anymore. At least I don't think we do. Now, like I said, the tilt was reading 1.046. So let's see what we're getting on the regular hydrometer. I didn't really calibrate it that well, so that could be any discrepancy is from that alone. But a couple points doesn't really make a difference. As long as they're relative to each other the same, we're good. 1.048. So it's really not that different. Yeah, so not that different. And the tilt says this started at 1.121. We have 1.114. So that's where there's more discrepancy there. But we do have some temperature adjustments and things like that that we didn't really do here. Because when I adjusted for temperature last time, it was 1.120. So they were 1 point away from each other. Right now, they're 2 points away from each other.
Yeah. I would say that's close enough.
Yeah. I mean, come on. How much closer you need to be?
All right. So if you recall, we said we were going to stop this at 1.020.
Yeah. I might have misspoke.
Because we thought about this. We are going to now, after racking, dilute this significantly, which is going to lower.
Right. So let me just do some quick math for you just to show you what we're talking about. You want to pour that in there so I don't knock it over? Yeah. Quick math. 1.121 minus 1.046, right? This is our standard ABV formula. Gives me 0.075 times 131.25. Gives me 9.84% ABV. That's what this is at right now. We're gonna use that actual number. I know I say never go to the hundredths place and all that, but for this, we're gonna do it just to help a little bit with maybe a slight accuracy, rounding off errors, compounding, that kind of thing we don't wanna do. So 9.84. I'm going to end up breaking this into 4 parts. One of them is going to be lemon juice. 3 of them will have alcohol. So basically we have 3/4 of a gallon. So each part is a quart. So divided by 4, right? And then I'm only gonna have 3 parts of alcohol. So multiply that by 3. That gives me 7.38% ABV.
I am totally fine with that ABV, particularly for something named Arnold Palmer, because that sounds like something I'm just gonna wanna drink a lot of.
Right. She wanted something, you know, middling for ABV. So it's not truly as low as like a session mead. It's not really as high as a standard mead. So 7.34. But that also means if we end up adding a little bit more lemon juice, it'll be a little bit lower, and a little bit less lemon juice, it'll be a little bit higher. So we don't know how much lemon juice we're going to add yet. The only way to find out is to taste it. But first, we got to rack it out of here.
I'm going to sanitize this hand.
There's 2 ways we could do that.
And place it in there.
We can rack it completely, and then you can just pull it out, and then it doesn't matter. There's no chance of...
Yeah, but isn't it glass?
Yeah, well, it's plastic.
Okay. That's your call.
Here's the thing. The safer way is to let it go all the way to the bottom and then pull it out. The nicer way to the tilt is to pull it out now. So if she sanitizes her hand, it's fine. So we're going to do that.
Sanitize. I'm just trying to drip dry because I don't want to...
Yeah, you're fine. There we go. And that can go right into turbos.
Yep.
Because it gets cleaned off in star sand.
Now, if your flesh happens to be really sensitive to the acid in star sand and that's the sanitizer you're using, don't do what I just did.
Okay. I'll remember that. Why are you handing this to me?
I don't know. Oh, that's right. It's back
We're
to the
racking.
lab.
Rack.
Back to the lab.
Okay. So to rack, just like we always do, we're going to use an auto siphon. We have the little cap on the end, and I don't want to go all the way into the muck on this one. I want to go about halfway down and just give it a few pumps to get it started. And once it's flowing, that's it. I'm going to hold it up from the bottom for a little while until it really gets closer, and then just follow it down so I'm in the lees the least amount of time. Now I know what you're thinking. This is not clear. Nope, it is not. But I have an idea for that we'll get to later, how to get this to be clear anyway. So I don't know if anybody's figured it out yet, but we're trying a new system here, trying something a little bit different. Essentially, the belief is that if you let a brew go dry and you back sweeten, you are back sweetening with the whole honey, which means all the different types of sugars. But if you let it ferment naturally and stop it sweet, there are going to be some sugars taken out as opposed to others. So you don't have the full spectrum of sugars. And that is supposed to make for a better tasting brew. I didn't believe that at first, but then I looked into the science, and there's actually a lot to it. I don't know exactly which sugars go first and things like that, but each yeast is a little bit different in that respect, but they do chew through some sugars faster than others once they break them down. Also, this comes up a lot. People say, why don't you just use invert sugar and this kind of thing? Invert sugar is actually used for one specific style of beer that I'm aware of, but people want us to use it because they believe that it's easier on the yeast to break the sugar into its constituent components. Now, I checked into that. I did not a heavy amount of research, but a little bit, and found that there really wasn't much to it. It really doesn't, because in the wild, yeast break down sugars. That's literally what they evolved to do. So I don't see it doing any easier or better on them than it possibly could anyway. Case in point, our boiled versus no boiled. Technically speaking, there was enough acidity in that honey to possibly do a little bit of sugar inversion, and we heated it. So it could have, but there was no difference in flavor. Therefore, I don't think it really changes anything. It also didn't change the fermentation. That's a stretch of an example, but it is kind of a case in point that invert sugar really doesn't do that much. But now, we've racked. See, I talked enough to make it through the whole racking process. Look at that. Imagine me found enough things to talk about. Shocking. And it's almost like I planned it, but we have
96.
exactly 96 ounces of mead, which is exactly what I wanted. So basically that means I have 3 quarts here now. But you know what we're going to need?
Lemon juice.
In a tasting glass. So I have lemon juice and I have a glass. Now, before anybody freaks out or says they're going to unsubscribe because I got a bottle of lemon juice.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know how many lemons it would take to make a quart of lemon juice?
Now, I know some of you are like, oh, you're so over-exaggerating. No, we've actually had people
I'm not even kidding.
out on us because
I'm not even kidding.
A bottle of lemon.
Somebody actually said that. Yeah.
Anyway.
So, I don't really know how much to add here.
All right, let's just
I'm not super familiar with the
toss
Arnold
caution to the
Palmer
wind.
profile.
We need Dad.
Yeah, your dad really would know.
He loves himself.
He is not here.
No, he's not.
Okay, so to start with, I would say I'm just going to put in like half of this because I think we need at least half of one of these.
Sure.
So that would put me to 112. Yeah. See, this is why you use the awesome pitcher with the markings, because you can know this stuff, okay? So here we go. I'm going to do it down the side though. Yeah, this works. This works.
So. Oh yeah, if you squeeze it.
Just squoze it.
Careful.
There's no being careful. It seems like a lot of lemon juice. I'm starting to appreciate lemons though. So.
All right, so we're at 112.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I will have the TILT information in the video somewhere. I could probably put a link to that. Put it through our website or something. I don't know. I'll do something with it, so that you can see what the TILT gave me. It was actually pretty cool. This is how we knew where it was today, and I knew today was the day to go, because if I waited another week, it might have been a little bit too low, because I know we're gonna want this sweet. Now, that's the other thing that I didn't talk about, okay? If it's 1.046 sweetness goes the same way, right? So we have 0.046 of sweetness in this.
Because if you're diluting the alcohol, you're diluting the sweetness.
Right, so 0.046 divided by 4 times 3 would give us a 1.034 final gravity for this, which it's an Arnold Palmer. They're lemonade and tea. I'm thinking they're supposed to be sweet.
All right, I'm just gonna leave that in there.
All right,
So
let's find out how we did.
it smells good.
It smells like lemon juice. That might have been too much lemon juice already. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God. Okay, you have to understand. We bought 3 of these.
We did.
Because I had no idea how much lemon we were going to need to add. This is fantastic. I need more. I mean, seriously, do we even need to do anything else to it?
So we didn't dilute it nearly as much. This is danger juice. Danger.
Doesn't even taste like alcohol. I still get a little bit of honey character though. It's got a really nice sweetness. It's a good mouthfeel because of the lemon juice and the tea. This is so, and this was the easiest brew we've ever made. Wow. I mean, we just took it out of primary. Holy crap. I mean, is there anything you'd want to do differently?
Drink more of it?
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen until next week. So what we're going to do with this now is we're going to rack this back into a fermenter and pasteurize. You have to stop the fermentation. To the best of my knowledge, I don't even know if chemical stabilization will actually stop a fermentation. I don't know. Somebody can correct me. We don't do it, so I don't know. I know somebody will ask. That's why I'm bringing it up. But I do know if I heat this to 140 degrees Fahrenheit for 22 minutes, those yeast will be dead. D-E-D, dead. No more. Kaputs.
All right, let's take some notes.
What notes?
Well,
1 quart lemon juice.
okay. And then we racked.
That's it.
And then
Oh,
pasteurized.
you know what though? I should probably calculate our.
And numbers.
Let's do our ABV because we were at 9.84 before I diluted, right? So I'm going to do parts because it's a lot easier. So we have 112 total parts now, but we started with 96. So I want to divide that by 112, which would have been like 4 earlier, and then multiply that by 96 because that's how much had alcohol, and I get 8.43%. So we're going to call this like 8%. We can even say 8.4%.
Sure.
I'm good with that.
Sure.
So yeah, this danger juice, like she said, this is almost a full-strength mead that tastes like candy. It's
yummy.
Just, wow, that is so good.
Yummy.
But anyway, so yeah, like I said, rack to another container, pasteurize. We'll be back next week with a final tasting and a judgment for you. So
We just racked.
yeah, and I forgot to mention one very important thing. We are going to pasteurize this, but once it's done pasteurizing, I'm going to let it come back to room temperature, and then we're going to cold crash it. Now, there's some debate about pasteurizing with active yeast, and this is sort of a test of that. I don't really care if it stays cloudy because this tastes awesome. But I believe that after pasteurizing, cold crashing may help because our boiled and no boiled, we did that, and they cleared with some cold crashing of some of the extra bottles.
Yep.
So that's an unofficial. We didn't do it in the video, and none of the stuff that you're going to see in the video was done that way.
Yep.
But I did it on the side just to see. So I have a theory on that. Rather than do a full video on it, I figured let's go this way. But as you can see, this is bubbling. Now that's probably degassing, but it is still an active fermentation. We just gave it more stuff to ferment. A little bit. There's a little bit of sugars in the lemon juice, but not that much. But we're going to get this pasteurized.
Yes.
And then cold crash.
Yes.
See you in a week.
Yes.
Okay, so it's been another week. Now, in that week, we pasteurized this, and then I cold crashed it for about like 6 days now or so.
So it's cold. You can see
it's very cold. So we're going to be
funny.
tasting this one cold, but I figure we probably would drink this one cold.
Yeah,
so it makes
because
sense.
we're going along with the Arnold Palmer theme, and typically that's served over ice. It's like an iced tea beverage, right?
But let's see how it tastes because it's done. It's ready to go. This could be bottled. Now, I want to point something out. It is not perfectly clear. There is some, and now that it's been taken out of the fridge, I just took it out of the fridge. There's some gunk actually floating to the top, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, there's a good amount of gunk on the bottom. Gunk is a
That's the technical term.
technical term, yes.
It cleared a little bit in the fridge, but not fully. And what I'll probably end up doing with this one is just let it sit for a while, give it a couple of months, just as is, not cold, just let it sit. And I bet you all that gunk will fall back out because that is crazy.
They are going up.
Yep. Let me show you this because this is weird. So yeah, hopefully you can see that. There's little tiny particles
Go to the bottom
that
so
are
you can
actually
see. There's
floating
a big
upward.
group at the bottom here.
Yep.
Then all these little pieces are just doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But all right, it's what it's going to do.
Now that could simply because he had to move it from 3 rooms away to get to here. And so the slight jostling of the liquid could have a slight upward current.
I don't know.
Perhaps.
But it's literally forming a layer at the top
Yeah.
of all the sediment that was at the bottom.
It's a new thing we haven't seen before, so we're fascinated.
Yeah. I don't know. That's crazy. But I'm hoping over time that'll all just fall back out again, which I would expect that it will. You want to stick that on there?
Just gonna.
All right. So color and clarity wise, this is not. It's got a nice color.
It's got a nice color. It's like it looks like a mead that has just a little bit of the tea color.
Yeah, it kind of does. Which this is obviously a mead. As far as haze goes, I can see through it, but it's got a little bit of a haze.
Yeah.
And I don't really care.
Yeah.
You know,
I keep trying to rub my glass to make the
condensation is
go
going to
away.
make it just as not clear, so it's no big. On the smell, very lemon
Yep.
and honey.
But it's not smelling like lemon pledge to
No,
me. It's
no, not
smelling
at all.
like a lemon pie.
Yeah, I mean, we did use the bottled lemon juice,
Like
okay? And I know somebody's going to give me a hard time about that.
The
but-
lemon version of key lime pie.
Yeah. If you'd used fresh lemon juice, I think this might come out just a little bit better. But we were looking for something super simple and super fast. And I didn't really want to have to squeeze 30 lemons.
We bought like 3 bottles of.
Yeah, but I'll use it to
lemon
make
juice.
cocktails,
No,
so
we
it's okay.
used, like-
We used one. On the smell,
I like the smell.
yeah, that's just
It's-
gorgeous.
it's lemon
Very
pie.
fresh.
Lemon pie.
Yeah, it smells like a lemon meringue pie. You don't like lemon meringue pie.
But I like the smell.
All right, you ready to go in?
That is sweet.
Yeah, we ended it at 1.046.
This is like a dessert.
But we then diluted it with a quart. I didn't give the final, you know what, let me do that now. Because this was a multi-parts thing. We did show it's 8.4% ABV, but we didn't do the dilution for sweetness. So it was at 1.046, so 0.0.
I thought the 8 was including all that stuff.
8.4 is the percentage of alcohol. We didn't do,
Oh, you're talking about. Okay.
I'm
Sorry.
talking about final gravity.
And the only thing that number means is the amount of
guide.
sugars that are potentially.
Yeah. It's just a guide to put you in the right kind of range if you're doing this yourself. Could we have stopped it a little bit later? Yeah, we probably could have made this a little bit less sweet, but I think it's really nice sweet.
Oh, yeah. If you like sweet, you'll like this.
It tastes like lemonade with a little kick and a little backbone of the tea.
Yeah. The tea is definitely doing a secondary.
Yeah. It's coming through at the end.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Now I'm getting the tea
This is
more
really
and more.
tasty.
Yeah, this is
This isn't exactly what I envisioned as a Arnold. Why is it so hard for me to say Arnold? Arnold Palmer Mead, but it is really good.
I think your dad will love this.
Yeah, this is way sweeter, and so it's and because of the aroma making me think of lemon pie, I'm like, this is a dessert now.
Yeah, this is just fantastic. By the way, a lot of that sediment that was coming up, it's now in stasis, which means it's starting to fall out too. There's a lot less of it. So it was just a gusher from the temperature change. Not going to worry about it. It's okay. Somebody will probably have the technical description as to why that happens, But here's the truth of the matter. It didn't hurt a thing, and I'm not worried about it.
It was fun to watch.
It was kind of cool. Made for good television. Okay, on your screen, you should be seeing our scoring guide, which goes 1 through 10 officially, but there are 2 extra numbers on there that are not written, 0 and 11, for things that just absolutely suck and for things that are super stupendous. I'm having a tough time coming up with a number.
Are you flummoxed?
A little bit, because this is way, I need more.
More for science.
Yeah, I need more of this to really know what to do here, because as you said, it's not what we expected.
Yeah.
And it's time for me to give true confessions time, just like you did with the cotton candy wine. I don't think I've ever had an Arnold Palmer.
What?
I may have tasted it at some point. But I don't think I've ever had a whole. It's a classic thing.
Yeah, and like every time we go out to dinner with Dad,
always
he always gets one.
But you got to remember something too. It's not a classic thing where I'm from.
Sure, and you are acclimating your palate to.
Yeah. I wasn't big on lemon, so for a long time I was just like,
I've slowly
why would I want
tugged
that?
and pulled him into the world of lemon and lime enjoyment.
Wow. It's tangy. It's sweet. It's mouth-filling. It stays in your mouth.
We've said that it's perhaps too sweet, but that lemon note is so potent that I think if it was less sweet,
you'd need less lemon.
It would,
So it would, and that's where it comes down to balance of flavors. The lemon juice is a tart and tangy thing that's a little harder.
Right.
So by adding more sweetness, we balance that down and we're able to get more lemon flavor in without it just being harsh and biting.
Yeah. I would say that would be my suggestion, that if you want it to be less sweet than this, you're going to want to add less lemon
you're gonna have to
as
balance
well.
it.
Now that will allow the tea to come forward a little bit more, which might be nice to try to get the.
To me, there's plenty of tea flavor in it.
But I'm getting like in the back end of the teas is there, so.
Yeah, I'm having a really tough time finding much wrong with this.
Yeah.
All right, do you have a number? Because we have to put a number.
I have a number.
As soon as you finish chugging. 1, 2, 3, 9.5. You gave it a 9.
I gave it a 9.
Okay.
I gave it a 9. Simply because I feel like maybe tweaking and lowering the sugar and lowering the sweetness and lowering the lemon just a little tiny bit would allow just a little bit more forward of tea. Because to me, an Arnold Palmer is tea first.
Okay.
With
so it's more like a lemon flavored tea than a tea flavored lemon.
Right. It's really supposed to be half and half. It's supposed to be equal. But for some reason, that's where my brain goes.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Equal means different things because it's equal parts lemonade and tea. We did a mead with tea.
Right.
And then added lemon juice, fully thinking I was going to have to add equal amounts of lemon juice and tea. If we had done that, this would just be lemon mead. There's no question. Okay, I appreciate what you're saying. I'm at 9.5 simply because I feel like, and this could be just a personal thing for me, the lemon is a little distracting to me. Like it's very strong. Okay. And that's probably my personal bias. I'm just now starting to play with cocktails with lemon juice in them. And I'm balancing the amount of lemon juice to the flavors in the thing. And to me, this might be just, like I say, half a point over what I would want it to be.
Kind of in agreement just from different viewpoints.
Yeah. But still, a 9 and a 9.5 on something that literally took 3 weeks.
This is super tasty.
We started this July 21st. Today is August 13th.
Just change the name
23
to
days.
Lemon Pie Mead.
Yeah.
And then it's a 10.
For 23 days old, this is spectacular.
And you know, another thing that is really interesting to me is that we've done a lemon mead and we've done a tea mead.
Yep, and I didn't like either of them.
And we didn't like either of them, but this is lovely.
Yep. Sometimes you just got to do the blend. Mix them together, Frankenstein it. But anyway, as always, guys, thanks so much for watching and have a great day.
Bye-bye.